Thank you for joining for the Rooftop talk. And I was wondering, can you tell me a little bit about your research and your research interests?
Well, I have quite a broad research interest, but I think my main focus has always been around the built environment, the material parts of the city, in relation to power relations, social power relations. So I have been doing quite a lot of research about how public space and how people use public space, but also conflicts and violence in public space. And then more recently, I've been doing research on the housing situation, the housing market, and housing inequality in relation to sort of ongoing debate right now about how the housing market is not working very well. And then I'm also doing research now on smart cities and smart housing, and from a sort of intersectional perspective. I think what is a common thread in my research is trying to understand power relations and how people can be part of influencing how the urban spaces are sort of being developed and how they change over time in relation to different shifts in society.
But can you tell me a little bit more about your housing research? Because I understand it's a very contentious topic right now in Sweden, and you have also just published a book about the topic.
Yes, I did. Yeah, it's a book in Swedish on housing inequality, which is then based on interviews, on narratives, stories, we call it housing stories, 50 stories we collected. And this is a description of sort of the growing housing precariousness in Sweden, which is, I mean, Sweden is quite known for having a good housing standard and had a very developed housing policy, well, in the 60s and 70s. But then since the cut-downs and the changes in the system of housing, we have sort of lost that. I've been trying also to frame the discussion around the housing market as sort of points of conflicts, that there are different interests and different needs. And since so much focus has been on the one who constructs the housing, I think it's very important to bring in the everyday life perspective and the perspectives from the people who need housing. So this book is is sort of also bringing in a historical perspective of the change. How did we end up here? But also telling these stories from the precarious housing market. And of course also discussing what kind of solutions do we need and how do we need to think about it. Because after all, housing is a right that the society has the obligation to make sure that we have housing, but how to do it and if we can hand it over to the market or whether the state and government need to take more responsibility, I think is one of the crucial points today. And this is a hot debate, but still not so much debated as I would like it to be.
And then can you tell me a little bit more about the upcoming plans that you have within the IUR? I mean, now you had your book that was just published, and then for the upcoming year, what other plans or projects do you have?
Well, of course, I see it as a fantastic base to work with inviting scholars from other universities, but also to develop our own research, and especially since now we have quite a few projects that are concerned about the smart city developments, which also eats into people's private life, and also it's a question of how it affects different groups of society and how it affects the way we live and use the city. So this is something I'm very curious about to develop much more. But I also see IUR as an arena to also develop the networks that we have and broaden them. I'm also part of an international, mainly European network called Inspire, where we gather researchers who are concerned about feminist and intersectional perspectives on urban development. And I'm hoping to host them 2020 here, and then it will be a fun thing to broaden and to introduce it to the rest of the people working in IUR.
Yes, and I guess it has been done through like the different activities that we have been having at the IUR, like with the launch retreat that we had, the IUR guest lecture, and now the IUR brown bag seminars as well.
Yes, exactly, and we're going to be very excited to have this guest research coming in here, because it also become something we can gather around to meet this new and introduce the new researcher. And this artist in residence we're going to have, and so I'm looking forward to all those activities, and I think that it's also important to have fun, and I think the retreat in Istanbul we had was a very good thing to just get to know each other as well.